right, so there we go. Just got the camera all set. Hope everybody is doing well. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm just refreshing the feed to make sure it's coming through, but hope everybody's having a good morning. There we go. All right, so today is going to be a Dreaming of Summer ice cream day. As we're kind of in gray skies today in San Diego, so definitely dreaming of summer. And as we're all sitting inside, I know we all can't wait to hang out with each other to have ice cream this summer. All right, so again, this is Paint with Lovejoy. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Again, you guys made my day by seeing a few people waiting for this feed to start, so thank you. And a few of you left comments about what your favorite flavor of ice cream is. So let me know your favorite flavor. Likely I probably like it as well. And yeah, thanks so much for jumping on. We've got chocolate, mint chip, fruit, chocolate caramel, vanilla, anything on it. Nice, I like it. All right, so for today's painting, again, we have our pre-drawn image on our canvas, and at the end of the video or in the end of the live session, I will upload this as a traceable to my website. But I highly recommend that you just pause the video, draw what you see on your canvas, and then pick up and start painting. If that kind of scares you, feel free to download the traceable. And like I said, I'll put the link up or add this image at the end of the demo. And you download your traceable and you will transfer it with carbon paper. And it takes away some of the stress of getting your initial composition on there before you even start painting. So you've got options. So I am on an 8x10 canvas, so it's kind of small, so I'll be using smaller brushes. I'm going to basically be using the medium little flat brush for a while and then a little bit of the pointy brush. But if you're working on a larger canvas, feel free to use a larger brush. So for the background, this is usually where I start. We're gonna make kind of a light blue, and then I'm gonna have it fade to darker blue towards the bottom of the canvas, so that way we kind of have a nice heavy weight down there. But as always with any of my videos, feel free to change colors, make this painting your own, and just use the video as a guide. So I am starting with a really light blue. So I started with the white, add a tiny amount of blue to make the shade that I'm looking for. And again, switch yours out to whatever you want. And just to reiterate, different brush strokes to try. We've got kind of the full width of the brush. You can turn it sideways, create a bit of a smaller line. And then my favorite one, and the one I'll be doing today, is literally making X marks, slapping your brush on the canvas. Very, very therapeutic process. So I'm going to be filling in basically everywhere from the outlines to the edges of my canvas with this paint. So go ahead and start filling yours up. Nice, and thanks Sonia and Tammy and Gwen and Fab Rachel for showing up and checking this out and leaving your comments as far as what your favorite flavor of ice cream is. All right. So if you are one of my first time painters, you may be wanting to be very sparing with your paint, and especially if you're using student grade paint, I recommend that you apply this paint on your background a little bit thicker than you may be comfortable with. So that way it just gives you a nice workability, and acrylic paint generally dries in about 15 minutes. So if you apply it a little bit thicker, then you have a little bit longer time to do some blending. Now with this video and any of my videos, you do not have to do these with just paint. You can do these with colored pencils, crayons, markers, pastels, watercolors, anything that you have at home. Utilize what you've got and just kind of follow along, mimic the shape and the place that I put the colors, but still trust your instincts. And if you want to deviate from what I'm doing, go for it. Now you may notice that you have to make your color 2 or 3 times as you're filling up your background. Do not stress about getting the exact same shade of paint each time you mix it. Having a little variety in your background is to your benefit. And after I've got a good base on here, I am going to do a wet on wet blending method to kind of blend some darker shades and lighter shades into it. And it's a really fun process to do that. All right. And feel free, turn that brush sideways in different directions. If you need to, turn your canvas around, turn it sideways, whichever's easier for you. I will, since I'm shooting the video, keep it in the same orientation so you guys can observe it at home. And if you're painting along and you're holding your breath right now, take a big, deep inhale for me. It is kind of stressful right now, but just let it all out. It's gonna be okay. We are gonna get through this. Things are changing, but we are capable of handling those changes. I've got faith in you, and I've got faith in myself that I can handle these changes as well, because they are lots and lots of crazy changes, and many, many things in my life in particular will be changing in the next month. So I think I mentioned it yesterday on the feed, but I will be moving out of my San Diego studio just to kind of conserve expenses and pushing more with my online and virtual classes. So hopefully you guys can join me at one of those virtual Paint Your Pet classes. I'm actually going to be shooting some demo videos and explainer videos on how to sign up, because you do have 2 options for instructions for the Paint Your Pet, as well as some of my other classes. And if you're interested in seeing what's currently out there, jump on over to my Paint with Lovejoy online school, and you can see pretty much all the videos I have on YouTube. Those are free and $2 for the Traceable. And you'll also see my intro to palette knife class, which is actually my style of painting, and it's a really, really stress relieving method. And then you'll also see my Paint Your Pet classes and my kits that I offer. So as this staying at home is being extended, please, please find creative outlets. It is one of the few things that helps this time go by. And I'm thoroughly loving some of the memes that are going around that when the world shuts down, everybody turns to artwork. They turn to the artist, to movies, music, podcasts. That is all versions of art. So hopefully this can help you maybe reevaluate how important the creative aspects are in your life and how much you want to keep them in there. All right, so now that we've got our base kind of color on the background, I am making a darker blue, and I want you to make it a few shades darker than what you were using. And if you end up going way darker than this, totally okay. And I do want it a little lighter at the top, and then I'm going to get darker as I go to the bottom. So with this kind of middle blue, I'm just going to kind of slap it on here, and then we'll go back and blend it in, and then we're going to go a little bit darker towards the bottom. So once you've slapped that darker color on there, you can wipe that brush off, just gets rid of some of that excess paint, and then with light pressure, you're going to blend it into that lighter background. And again, this is called wet on wet blending, because you are blending into a wet background with wet paint on top of it. And this is also a fun place if you feel like finger painting, go right ahead. Sometimes it is easier to blend the colors with your fingers, so go for it. And then just wash your hands, because you're already getting great practice at constantly washing your hands now. And as we're painting, if you happen to overlap your background color inside another area, do not stress out. This paint dries in about 15 minutes. So anything that you don't like, you just let your paint dry and then paint on top of it again. So for my beginner and first time painters, acrylic paint is awesome because it actually gives you quite a bit of wiggle room as you're learning new skills. And again, I'm keeping this kind of smooth, so it is just light pressure with my brush. And the more that you do this, the more that you'll kind of find your groove for how you're going to blend and the things you want to do. So before I move into the dark blue, I'm actually just going to grab a blob of that white, so we go a little bit lighter on the top. So you just kind of slap it on there, and I am being very generous with the amount of white because that white is going to get eaten up with that underneath color rather quickly. All right, so again, you don't really need to wipe the brush off because like I said, the white's going to blend in there very quickly, and just moving it back and forth. And again, remember to breathe while you're doing this. Just put all your stress and frustrations and anxiety into this. And for a little bit while you paint, hopefully you forget about the world outside. That is truly the reason why I paint and became an artist, was to escape the world and live in my world, really. So I was really grateful when I had the classes here in the studio that I felt like I brought everybody into my world for a little bit and then let you go back to your world after a couple of hours. So virtually, I'm hoping to be able to do the same thing. And I'll put a link in the description box below, but I do have my virtual classes for Paint Your Pet kind of set up and ready to sign up for. But it will be on my Lovejoy Creations website right now until I can get it on the Paint with Lovejoy. Lots of things to do these days. All right, so now I'm going to take that dark blue, just that straight direct blue, and we're going to put it on the bottom, and I want it pretty dark, so I'm actually going to put a good amount of that blue paint underneath there. Don't necessarily need to wipe the brush off again, and then again, just kind of play with moving that darker, possibly a little bit thicker paint into your background. And don't hold your breath doing this. It does not help your blending. And feel free to maybe every now and then get out of your chair, take a look at it from a distance. And again, as you can see that I'm doing, I am overlapping some of my other areas because it helps for the blending fully across. So don't be afraid to overlap those areas. And then we'll put more paint on top of it. All right. And I'm actually kind of liking how dark it is a little bit more on that right-hand side. I didn't quite plan it, but I'm going to work with it and just kind of incorporate that a little bit more. So when you paint, sometimes we start out with an idea and our end result is a little bit different than our original idea, and that's okay. Painting is a conversation that you are having with yourself, your canvas, and your skills at any given time. So be kind to yourself and be willing to move in new directions based on how you're feeling or what you're seeing. All right. And you do want to go ahead and get your background kind of to the part that you like, and then we'll be moving into our cone and then our flavors for our ice cream. I'm going to throw a little bit more up here. I would say the wet on wet blending is one of my favorite aspects of painting with a brush. I still prefer the knife just because then I don't have to clean as much. And I like using the direct colors with the knife. All right. Awesome, awesome. So yeah, we're going to clean the brush really good, and we're going to go to put our kind of a light brown for our cone, so that way it can dry, and then we can put some details on top of it. And then I think I was thinking, let's see, butter pecan, chocolate, and mint chip. And I might actually do those in the reverse order, but those were the flavors I was going to go for. And on your painting at home, you can create whatever flavor color combo that you want for your ice cream cone. All right, so I'm actually grabbing just my raw sienna, and you can use any brown that you want. If this is actually too dark, add a little bit of white to it, and you can make your ice cream cone any flavor, any color that you want. And again, if you're using student grade paint, it is a bit on the transparent side, so apply it a little bit thicker and use light pressure with your brush, and you'll have a bit more opaque coverage compared to having kind of light transparent colors. And you can see here that that blue is mixing a little bit with my brown, and I'm just going to kind of work it into it and apply my paint one more time. So I was a huge Bob Ross fan and picked up the phrase from him, happy accidents. So I encourage you to pick up that mentality as well. Very loud playing. I don't know if you guys could hear that at home. Oh, I haven't tried coffee flavor ice cream. That sounds kind of interesting. I wonder if you get the same type of caffeine rush for that. Not that I need it. All right, so again, whoops, and I picked up too much blue. If that happens, just wipe it off. And if you need to, you can wipe off that area with a paper towel and then reapply your color. I might come and apply that again after it dries. I am going to kind of try to keep this demo at about 30 minutes. I think yesterday went to 40, but we were doing the Van Gogh Starry Night, and that was a lot of fun. All right, so let's see. I'm actually We'll save the red cherry for later. So for my mint ice cream, I'm gonna start at the top. My particular green is a bit on the spearminty side, so you might have to adjust yours at home. So start with white and add a little bit of green and see if that's kind of minty for you. If it's super, super bright, you can either add a tiny amount of blue to kind of calm it down, or a tiny amount of black, and that will kind of mute the intensity of your color. So adjust what you need to for your mint chip ice cream or whatever flavor ice cream that you're putting on your scoops. And I am making sure that I go over that black outline, because this one I'm not gonna re-outline with the black kind of pop art feel. At least not at the moment. I might change my mind in a few minutes once this is all filled in. All right, so just kind of putting that base in there. And I do want to do a little bit of shading. So I'm gonna make a little bit of a darker green, a stronger minty green. It does kind of diffuse quickly, so there we go. And just with doing that same wet on wet blending, kind of put like a little hint that we've got some shadow happening on that bottom left-hand side. And kind of like what we were doing yesterday, it is just kind of a bit of a dabbing, so that way we don't have as many brush strokes. But again, kind of find what you're getting comfortable with while you're at home. And as you're watching the video, or as you watch anything online or on YouTube, you are strengthening your power of observation. By observing what you see on the screen and then applying it to your own canvas, you're strengthening that eye-hand coordination. All right, so you're gonna clean your brush really good. Let's see, let's go to strawberry. No, let's do chocolate in the middle, and then we'll do strawberry down here, because I don't necessarily want my light brown and dark brown next to each other. All right, so chocolate, I'm actually using burnt sienna. It's a bit of a reddish brown. And being very conscious as I come up next to the other color, because it is still wet paint. And also being conscious as you come up next to your background. The brown is a bit more of a stronger color, so if you do get some of your background or even the green in there, that's gonna be okay. And I forgot to actually put black on my plate, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push some of that reddish brown aside. I'm gonna add a touch of blue to it, and you can see quickly how it gets really dark. And it is kind of nice. We were trained in art school to make our shades without using black. So learning what your other colors that you could mix with it just helps as you're painting. All right, so I added more blue because again, it's wet on wet, so it is kind of picking up some of the other brown paint in here. And we're gonna put a little bit of a shadow underneath because we do have one object, one scoop on top of another, so we need a little hint of a shadow on there. And towards the end, we're gonna put some kind of bright white highlights on there. All right, and it doesn't look too bad on the screen as I'm looking between a few things. Awesome. Ooh, I will have to try the Java chip and the Haagen-Dazs ice cream, coffee ice cream. I'm actually not a big ice cream person, but I want some right now so bad because we're painting this. All right, so let's see, we're gonna do strawberry down here. So I'm gonna pull, again, some of that white aside. We're gonna move it over to my red. Tiny, tiny amount of red goes a long way to make your pink. And you can have your strawberry ice cream as intense as you want, or as light, or if you even wanna do a different color. I think I was considering butter pecan on here. And as I look at that, that's actually a little brighter than I want it to. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab some of that white and use what I've already got on here, slap it on there, and you'll see how it kind of tones down the color. Again, being careful as we get next to our other colors, especially since this strawberry is such a lighter color. All right, and then we do have a little bit of a dripping ice cream. And as I'm looking at this, I may actually do the black outlines, we'll see. So I also need to get these little drips down here. So I'm actually going to move into the smaller brush so I have a little bit more control. And I am applying this kind of thick with adding the white, having the white paint in here. It gives it a bit more opaque coverage compared to some other colors. There we go. So don't be afraid to apply your paint a little bit thicker if you need to. And again, when you're coming up close to your blue or your other colors, you do want to just kind of keep a light pressure and you're just placing that paint on top of it so that way you're not mixing the blue in with that color. Because the blue and the light pink are actually going to create a light purple, which could be kind of cool. I'm trying to remember, I feel like back when I was a kid, they had something where either the spoon changed color or the ice cream was able to change color. I think it was more the spoon. So that way when it got cold, it changed colors. And that was always fun. All right, so same thing. We've got some shadows to make. So we're going to make a little more intense pink. And again, we've got our shadow from the scoop underneath. And just keeping with that little dabbing pointillism method. Remember to breathe, don't hold your breath. Laugh at yourself a little bit. This is just painting. It's not the end of the world with painting. It's to help you escape the craziness of the world. All right, then we have a few little shadows we need to put on our little drips. And those I put on the right-hand side. And then here we have our shadow on the bottom. And again, my blue paint is still pretty wet. So keeping with that light pressure, and I actually made it too dark, so wiping the brush off and then toning it down. All right, and those of you that are painting at home with me, thank you so much. It takes a lot of courage to step out of your comfort zone and paint at home, but I'm really proud of you. If you're inclined to send me pictures of your paintings, please do that. I can't stress enough how excited I get to see your guys' emails in the morning and your pictures. I'm gonna wait for the plane to pass. Not sure if you guys can hear that, but I can. They are extra loud right now. All right, so just use the red, straight red for that cherry on top. And if you're inclined to send me pictures, email them to me, paintwithlovejoy@gmail.com, or tag me in your social media posts. All right, and I am actually, I forgot for the mint chip, I am gonna put a little bit of black on here because we need to put those little mint chips in there, the chocolate part. All right. So for those little chips, I am using the small little pointy brush, and we're just gonna do little dash marks in here, or little dots. And again, you're just imagining that each dot is a little chip in your ice cream. So if you want to have a lot of mint chips or just a few, add as many as you want to your ice cream. All right, and we're gonna put, let's see, maybe some sprinkles on there. Oh, actually, let's go back to the cone. Yes, very yummy. All right, so for the cone, kind of like those waffle cones have those lines on there, we're not gonna use the pure white, but I'm gonna take some of this white, place it over by my raw sienna, and take a little bit of that raw sienna so we can make a slight creamy color. Basically, I wanted it just lighter than what we have on the cone. And we're gonna kind of make a cross-hatching grid. So if you need to, you can put your pinky out and put it on your table, and you can use that as your pivot point, or rest your forearm against the table, so that way you can make kind of some even, consistent lines. And we're going to start on the left-hand side of the cone and just kind of create these lines. And again, my paint is still wet. I do recommend that you wait for your paint to dry before you add these details. And then we're going to cross them, go in the other direction. Oops. And as you're doing this, mind your pressure. I just got a rather larger line in there. If you have variety in your lines, that's okay. That's just where you're painting for today. All right. Okay, and I'm kind of inclined to do the black outline, so I think I might go for that. Just because I think it will make it a little bit more bold. And this is a place where we get good practice with the pressure of our brush. Again, I recommend that you wait until this dries, and it'll be much easier to do your black lines. As you're doing your lines, remember to breathe, be kind to yourself. Oh, sorry. So what are some other things that you guys are doing at home to keep yourself occupied and entertained that do not involve watching TV? Leave a comment, let me know. Let's see, I see a question. Are you curving the lines on the cone? Yes, for these inside lines, they have a little bit of a curve. If you happen to make them a bit more straight, that's okay. I've seen waffle cones and even those regular little kitty cones come in quite a few different colors and a few different shapes from the triangle too. But I don't think anybody that's going to look at it will go, oh, that's not a cone because the lines aren't curved. Again, keeping that light pressure. And I'm kind of liking the outlines a little more than I thought I was going to. So again, while you're painting, just trust your instincts, try different things, see what else you can do. See, I'm trying to get this so you guys can still see. All right. And as I'm drawing these, I'm remembering that slogan. Oh my gosh, I think I can remember it. Scream, ice cream, we all scream for ice cream. Oh my gosh, I don't remember all of it. But I think it was a commercial and they just played it over and over and over again. All right, so as we get to the cherry, I'm outlining that. And then I'm also going to put a stem on the cherry. I don't think they actually leave those on there when you get them from the ice cream store, but I think it looks kind of cool. Whoops, and I got a really fat stem. That's all right. Just kind of work with it. It was a very healthy cherry. And let's get these last little guys. And again, with this being a demo, if you're painting at home, more than likely your paintings will turn out so much better than mine because you can allow yours to dry in between the layers. So for my other non-live demo paintings on my YouTube channel, that is what I do. I will let certain areas dry, stop the filming, and then pick it back up again as I'm ready to start. So it is totally okay if you guys find that groove while you're at home. Maybe you paint for 30 minutes, give it a break, and then come back and paint again. Oh, I've never, let's see, a few of you have mentioned that you still watch Netflix, Kindle Unlimited, so you're reading. That's awesome. Let's see what else we got. Skipbo. I actually have never heard of that. I don't know what it is, but I am assuming it is highly entertaining to watch as well as play. And I'm glad you and your husband get to have some fun recreational outlets. Very cool. All right, so the final step that we're gonna do on the cone, we do need to put some highlights, and we are gonna use the white and be pretty bold, and I'm gonna be making just quick little strokes on there. And again, it's giving the indication that we have the light coming from the right-hand side. So I'm grabbing it from the white pile from the side that doesn't have any pigment in it, because I still have green and a little bit of pink in my white. And each time I make a brush stroke, I'm going to go back and grab more paint. So for here, we have a little bit of a highlight on our cherry, and it's just going to be like a little dot. And again, a lot of these highlights that we do will make a little bit more sense and look better as you step away from your canvas. So most artwork and things in life are meant to be viewed from about 5 to 10 feet away. And they do look entirely different from that distance compared to 2 feet in front of our face. So feel free to just mimic the places that you see where I'm putting the white. It does not have to be exactly like mine, but you're just using it as a reference for where you're going to place it. And don't think too much. It's just kind of a quick little stroke, and whatever you end up making, that's what you're embracing for today. All right, and if you want to add multiple colored sprinkles on your cone, if you want to put your name in the cone, go for it. If you want to put, little cherry or strawberry dots, actually, let's do that. That sounds good. So I'm going to use that straight red, and we're going to imagine that those are like little pieces of the strawberry in the ice cream. And again, I'm so grateful that you guys took time out of your day to hang out with me. Really appreciate it. Keeping on a bit of a schedule and painting every day at 11 o'clock with you guys has really, really helped my sanity. So I appreciate you guys showing up and hanging out with me. All right. And like I said earlier, feel free to email me any pictures of what you paint, any questions. Check out my online school, Paint with Lovejoy. I'll put a link below to check out my virtual classes through my Lovejoy Creations website. And last but not least, if you want to financially support Paint with Lovejoy, please watch the videos, share the videos with your friends, and if you are inclined to become one of my patron members, check out the link below, and you can do a monthly donation of $2 or $5 or whatever you feel like. But just by watching the videos, that is a huge support, and sharing them with your community. So please share the fun with people. All right. So I think that kind of covers it. Yep, I kept it at about 30 minutes, so not bad. And I will be here again tomorrow at 11 a.m. to do another painting with you guys. And we'll just have fun and keep this going. So I hope everyone has a great day. I'll catch you tomorrow. And yeah, take care and be safe.